Coming up, wild weather. We'll explain the science behind tornadoes. Then, batter up, the state-of-the-art bat that is helping the New York Yankees set records.
I started using it the last week and a half of spring, I think. And, I just never looked back after that.
We'll take a look at the torpedo bat. Also hitting the ice, our Kids Edition correspondent Isaac sits down with a former Stanley Cup champion to talk about an exciting new project just for kids.
Most people know what a sports cast is, but you're doing a STEM cast. What exactly is that?
STEM cast is something actually kind of new to us. It kind of combines two things, the broadcast of a hockey game while teaching some STEM lessons. And I guess there's like a hat trick of things because the third part is the game's actually animated. Wow. An animated representation of the real game.
And this time of year, teams are trying to all make the playoffs.
STEM going on, so much science going on in a game of hockey.
This truly is the best snow day ever.
Plus, holy cow, an adorable Scottish Highland cow is turning heads and melting hearts. We're in Tennessee with details. And that's not all, folks.
There's no way we could screw this up.
The voice behind some of the most popular animated characters speaks with Kids Edition about the latest adventures of Daffy Duck and Porky Pig playing on the big screen.
How would Daffy Duck describe this movie to kids?
Well, you see, I'm glad you asked that because finally I get my moment in the spotlight, minus that rabbit we know as Bugs Bunny. And I can handle Porky. Hey, I'm still here, you know. It's about my movie, too. But yeah, Daffy would say this was a super fun movie to make. A lot of talented artists and musicians worked on this, and I do all my own stunts.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. Hope you're all having a great week so far. We've got a terrific show for you this week, including the cow who is stealing the show. Plus, we'll put you to the test twice this week. And a bit later on, we'll introduce you to a 13-year-old boy who was on a pretty special mission. But let's begin on a serious note with one of the stories making headlines. Parts of the country have seen severe storms this past week, including tornadoes. We know that tornadoes can be awfully scary, but if you understand how they form, it can help you and your family stay safe. And we asked our good friend Dylan Dreyer to look at the science behind these twisters.
The weather is something scientists love to study, but it can be tricky to predict sometimes. One day it could be sunny, and the next it could be stormy. And then there's extreme weather, like a tornado, which is a powerful force of nature. Did you know a tornado is a really strong rotating column of air that extends from a cloud all the way to the ground? A tornado can form inside a big thunderstorm. But how? Well, it has a lot to do with air temperature and moisture. When cold, dry air moving from one direction bumps into warm air, it can form a tornado. Inside those thunderclouds, warm, humid air rises, and air currents around the thunderstorm can create a spin that starts out horizontal and then turns vertical as the air is pulled up into the thunderstorm. Now, when the rotating tube of air turns vertical, it forms a funnel cloud. And when that funnel cloud touches down over land, that's when it becomes a tornado. Because tornadoes twist and turn as they move, they are also called twisters. A really strong tornado can destroy homes and buildings and pick up large objects like trucks. But tornadoes dropping houses on witches only happens in the movies. Tornadoes can occur throughout the year, but they mostly form during the spring and summer months. We know this can sound scary, but if you know what you're doing, you can stay safe. First, stay aware of weather conditions in your area. Keep an eye on the local news to see what they are reporting. Listen for tornado warnings. There are sounds to let people know in and around where you live that severe weather is on its way.
Tornado warning.
And if you hear that sound, then you will know what to do to stay safe. And part of that is knowing where to go, whether you're at home, at school, or a friend's house. If a tornado warning goes off, seek shelter. Go to a basement. If you don't have a basement, go to an inside room without windows on the lowest floor of your home, like a bathroom or a closet, or even a center hallway. Avoid rooms with windows. And make sure you're as close to the middle of your house as you can be. And most importantly, listen to your parents or a grown-up. They're there to protect you and keep you safe.
All right, Dylan, thanks so much. All right, time now for our News Smarts quiz to see how closely you've been following current events this week. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker set a record on the Senate floor for doing what? A, performing 100 push-ups, B, speaking for more than 25 hours straight, or C, voting on the most number of bills. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is B, speaking for more than 25 hours straight. Senator Booker's marathon speech was to address President Trump and his administration's policies. Now for our picture of the week. The cherry blossom season is in full swing in Washington, D.C. The famous flowering trees just reached peak bloom along the tidal basin in Washington. Peak bloom means at least 70% of the cherry blossom trees have sprouted flowers. Those gorgeous pink flowers can last anywhere from a few days to around 2 weeks, and for years have drawn visitors from all over. The National Park Service notes the planting of cherry trees in Washington, D.C. originated in 1912 as a gift of friendship to the United States from Japan. In other news, it's a piece of baseball equipment that has everyone talking, a torpedo-shaped baseball bat, and it's now being used by some of the sport's biggest hitters and breaking records this past weekend. We get details now from our friend Tom Yamas.
From the stands to the dugouts, everyone in baseball is talking about the torpedo bat and how it may be helping the Bronx Bombers live up to their nickname. In just 3 games, 15 homers so far, 9 on Saturday alone, with several Yankees going yard using a torpedo bat. It looks like a bowling pin, designed with more wood in the middle of the barrel, the sweet spot where players want to connect with the ball. It was developed in part by physicist turned coach Aaron Lenhart, who spent 6 years with the Yankees but jumped to the Marlins this season. Kevin Smith tried it out while playing for New York.
The bat looks weird. How does it feel when you hit the ball?
It doesn't feel much different, man. I remember going up to the plate with it last year and catchers were laughing. I was laughing. But when you get the science behind it and you kind of understand it a little bit more and you start taking swings, when you're swinging, it doesn't feel much different.
I started using it the last week and a half of spring, I think. And, I just never looked back after that.
But the player that hit the most home runs this weekend at Yankee Stadium, Aaron Judge, says no torpedo bat for him. He blasted 4 home runs over 2 games using a traditional bat and says, why change something if you have something that is working? Well, they're not for everyone. Players on the Rays, Blue Jays, and Twins are using them as well, and we bet others may join them.
Tom, thanks. And we should note Major League Baseball says the torpedo bat is legal. Any team that uses them, including the Yankees, has to get them checked out by the MLB, and so far, they meet requirements. Well, speaking of sports, the Boston Bruins and the New England Sports Network have teamed up with the National Hockey League on a project that makes learning math and science fun. Our Nightly News Kids correspondent Isaac Leibowitz met up with a former Bruin and Stanley Cup champion at Chelsea Piers here in New York to find out what it's all about.
Filtered back to Ferentz, fires, goal!
Former NHL champion Andrew Ferentz helped the Bruins win their 6th NHL championship. Now his goals off the ice include making hockey fun and educational for kids. Hey, Andrew.
What's up, Isaac?
Most people know what a sportscast is, but you're doing a STEM cast. What exactly is that?
STEMcast is something actually kind of new to us. It kind of combines 2 things, the broadcast of a hockey game while teaching some STEM lessons. And I guess there's like a hat trick of things because the third part is the game's actually animated, an animated representation of the real game.
And this time of year, teams are trying to all make the playoffs.
I'm gonna call the game, and make it fun and interesting and add a lot of STEM lessons. People are like, what, sports? But there's so much STEM going on, so much science going on in a game of hockey.
Absolutely, that's really cool, honestly.
This truly is the best snow day ever.
The animated show is called The Best Snow Day Ever. The Bruins, the NHL, and the New England Sports Network created a real-life game as the home team, the Bruins, face off with the Florida Panthers.
It's literally like, you know, when you're a kid and it starts snowing and there's no school and you're so pumped. Yeah. You know, that's the scene that we're setting down in Boston Common. We've got the outdoor rink. The Bruins are playing against the Panthers, and that's the animation. So we'll be calling the game like a normal broadcast with a lot more fun, and then interjecting with like these little science lessons about, you know, STEM in hockey.
Yeah, it's really cool. But how will you really incorporate math and science to hockey, which you wouldn't really necessarily think has a lot of science behind it?
I think it's that old adage of like, when am I ever going to use this in real life?
Yeah, exactly.
You're sitting
all
there
the
in
time
class,
I'm like
well, how is this going to apply?
Do I really need that?
Yeah. And so I think it's neat to bridge that gap. And so in hockey, I mean, everything from the physics of stopping, you know, to accelerating, to, you know, the angles of passing off the boards, you know, the velocity of a shot and how you're creating the energy through the stick to get a good shot.
And in science, work happens when you use force to move something a certain distance, and Blade was putting in the work.
When you can connect it to a sport and something that's happening in real life, and you know,
kids enjoy.
Kids enjoy it. You know, if kids are going to learn about STEM and hockey, they might as well learn about it with the Bruins too.
Mason Lowry scores, and the Bruins tie things up at 2.
I'm a huge Boston fan myself. My dad grew up in Brookline. You include a lot of iconic Boston locations.
Like a Beacon Hill and the USS Constitution and, you know, all these different kind of landmarks, you know, scattered around Boston, all in animated version. We can also put on the VR headset.
Yeah.
And so I was literally like in the scene.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Like, it relates to the kids. Like, you're learning in class, and the next time you hear physics in class, you'll like maybe pop up, you're like, oh, I learned about this. I was watching the hockey game, and
yeah.
Do you hope that this program that you're doing with STEM casting will really excite kids to learn about math and sciences more when they're actually in school?
Well, I hope it excites them about hockey.
Yeah.
But of course, obviously math as well. Obviously for us to have more kids exposed to hockey in a fun, like kind of engaging manner is really good for us. And if we can interest kids in the sport and then lock in some actual education lessons, like it's a win-win. It's great.
So should we hit the ice and you can show me some cool ways on how we can incorporate STEM in hockey?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Come on, buddy.
Full disclosure, I've never played ice hockey in my life, but I was up for anything.
Oh!
I gotta say, it's tougher than it looks. For NHL champions like Ferentz, who learned to skate at the age of 2, he doesn't think about Newton's laws of motion to do this. But it makes learning science fun.
You're trying to get open and you're trying to deke out guys, and there's a lot of movement, right? And so you're using those edges and that sharp edge, absorbing some of the energy through your body, right? And then this one's just a quick little snap through. Hey, all right. He's on the breakaway. Hey, there we go. Good goal scoring. I like that. I like it. Yeah, you got
great teacher.
You got some talent, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming out.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Nice. We're a team.
Hey, thanks, Isaac. That was terrific. All right, we should note Best Snow Day Ever is available on demand on NHL.com, on @NHL YouTube, and the Boston Bruins YouTube channel. All right, in this week's Kids Spotlight, Looney Tunes, Daffy Duck, and Porky Pig are off on a new adventure to save planet Earth. Rated PG, the day the Earth blew up, a Looney Tunes movie is playing in theaters nationwide. Our Kids Edition correspondent Andres had a chance to catch up with the man who voices these popular characters.
Looks like it's up to us to save the Earth.
Oh, it was nice knowing you guys.
In the new Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, Daffy Duck and Porky Pig are at the center of the plot.
I hope that shatterproof glass can withstand the abuse.
The two unlikely heroes go up against an alien force, and they're on a mission to save the world.
There's no way we could screw this up.
Eric Bauza voices both Daffy Duck and Porky Pig in the animated film.
How would Daffy Duck describe this movie to kids?
Well, you see, I'm glad you asked that because finally I get my moment in the spotlight, minus that rabbit we know as Bugs Bunny. And I can handle Porky. Hey, I'm still here, you know. It's my movie, too. But yeah, Daffy would say this was a super fun movie to make. A lot of talented artists and musicians worked on this. And I do all my own stunts. Woohoo!
All right, what will Porky have to say to that?
Well, I'm just, trying to make sure he doesn't ruin everything. And that takes a lot of energy sometimes. But, he makes up for it. In eggs. Hey, you seem like the friendly type. Care to go back and forth about the weather with me? Mister? Chew? Is that some sort of gum factory employee greeting?
What's something kids may not know about voice acting?
Well, aside from the silly voices that come from this profession, you really have to rely on good acting. You really have to make the people in the audience believe that these characters are in trouble or they're having a good time and just, building this friendship.
Why'd you mess things up so bad? Now the whole world is ending and my best friend hates me!
You're the voice behind many famous characters. Who is your favorite character to voice?
Well, if we're gonna talk about Looney Tunes, Doc, I'm a big Bugs Bunny fan. Always have been.
Ever since I was probably your age. The Looney Tunes, aside from being an inspiration to be a voiceover artist, they inspired me on how to, draw. It could stay with us for 90 years, and we still love watching these characters run around on the big screen and cause trouble.
Yeah. So far, who is the hardest character to voice and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. They're all really difficult to voice, and believe it or not, they were all originated by one actor by the name of Mel Blanc. He was the original voice actor, one guy.
He did Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Tweety Bird, I Tata Putty Tat.
Sylvester, I'm gonna eat that bird for lunch. I say Foghorn Leghorn. You know, this guy Eric, the lights are on, but nobody's home. That's a joke, son. Yosemite Sam. Ooh, I hates that rabbit.
Porky, of course. That's not all, folks.
One guy created all of these, not just voices, but they're different personalities. I'd have to say they're all equally as difficult to voice.
Daffy, no! I don't hate you. Maybe we're just not as good a team as we thought.
The new animated movie is a throwback to classic Looney Tunes and explores the bond between these two fan favorites.
Is there a lesson to be learned from this new movie?
If you're looking for a really genuine lesson, there is one. I'd have to say that teamwork. Sometimes the person that you least expect that would be there for you comes through. Things are gonna be okay as long as you stick together.
What's your advice for kids who might want to follow in your footsteps?
That's another great question. Man, oh man. If only I saw this interview when I was a kid growing up. Yeah, follow your dreams. If you have a passion, it doesn't have to be this. It could be anything. And if you find something that you really love to do and it stays with you, as these characters have with me. When I was your age, I couldn't stop watching these characters. I'm pretty sure my parents were worried, but look, it worked out. Yeah, so just follow your passions. Follow your dreams, kids.
Boy, that almost blew up in our... Yeah, that's all, folks.
Andres, thanks so much. That was great. And while we're on the topic of Looney Tunes, time for our pop quiz. The question this week, what is Bugs Bunny's favorite snack? Is it A, spaghetti and meatballs, B, grilled cheese sandwiches, or C, carrots? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is C, carrots. Since 1940, Bugs Bunny has been snacking on carrots in Looney Tunes cartoons. But believe it or not, wild rabbits don't actually eat too many carrots in their everyday diet. Vets say that pet rabbits should only be fed a carrot as an occasional treat, and that most of their diet should consist of fresh grass and hay. Well, now to a story that caught our eye recently about a Scottish Highland cow born a few months ago at the Nashville Zoo and immediately took the internet by storm. Let's get details from our friend Ellison Barber.
Meet Hamish, one of the newest additions to the Nashville Zoo.
He was born on December 27th. He has a red coat and a pink nose. He is very playful.
Known to be very calm animals, Hamish is the first Scottish Highland cow born at this zoo.
Currently, Hamish is out in the pasture with our goats, and he also goes on walks around the zoo for adventures. They are herd animals. They usually do like to be around other animals in general.
The zoo says Hamish is social and also very curious.
Hamish is very inquisitive. He is always looking around at things and sniffing around, and is playful as well. He has different enrichment items that he likes to play with. One of his favorite things is actually a enrichment brush that he loves to rub his head on to get more scratches, and he loves being pet.
But when it's time to wind down, Hamish loves to get cozy.
So Hamish comes into the barn at night. He has his own stall currently. He'll lay down in his stall.
Did you know, as cows like Hamish grow, they'll continue to graze more out on the pasture, and they use their horns to get food.
Their horns are usually about 3 to 4 feet when they're fully grown from tip to tip, and they can use that if there's snow on the ground. They can dig that up to get down to the ground.
They are well suited to stay warm, but guess what? Their coats change between winter and summer.
They are known for their double layered coats, so the outer layer is a little bit more coarse, and then he has a woolier layer.
The zoo hopes by sharing some fun facts, kids and grown-ups alike will want to learn more about Hamish and this interesting species.
He's going to be an ambassador animal, just letting people know more about his species.
Ellison, thanks so much. So cool. Finally, in our Inspiring Kids series, one teenage boy is on a special mission, accomplishing his dream of becoming an honorary member of law enforcement and raising awareness for childhood cancer along the way. Our friend Savannah Sellers has that story.
During President Donald Trump's address to a joint session of Congress last month, the newest honorary member of the Secret Service was announced.
I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
The surprise even came with an official Secret Service badge.
As soon as he said that, I went, I'm surprised my eyeballs didn't pop out of my eye sockets.
13-year-old DeVar J. Daniel, who goes by DJ, has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. Sadly, he was diagnosed with brain cancer several years ago, a diagnosis that changed his life but hasn't affected his spirit or his career goals.
The real reason why I wanted to be a police officer is because when it was the Hurricane Harvey, we was in the JRB, and there was 3 police officers, and they helped us, so I wanted to help other people.
They wanted to live a life of service to others.
DJ has also been named an honorary police officer by more than 900 police departments, a mission he started back in 2022 to raise awareness about childhood cancer. As he continues to fight cancer, this honorary crime fighter shared some advice for kids watching at home.
You have to stay out of trouble, be good in school, don't go to the principal's office, stop the violence, stop being mean to people, and just live your life.
Savannah, thanks very much. Well, that is going to do it for us parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, feel free to email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. And a bit of exciting news, our program was just nominated for the 29th Annual Webby Awards. What an honor. Congratulations to all the nominees. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to take care of yourself and each other. So long.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.